Hello, welcome to Tuesday Live. I am Omini Odon. Many countries of the world are still battling with socio-economic impact of COVID-19, particularly in the area of job creation. Before the coronavirus pandemic, Nigeria, like many other countries, faced the challenge of youth unemployment, for which programs such as the Empower is designed to address. The small businesses identified to create more than 80% of jobs in the country were badly hit by the pandemic, especially those who are into event planning, travel and tourism, and other creative acts. It is widely acknowledged that investments are critical to the success of job creation and wealth. A phenomenon many say has been a hallmark, especially in the last 5 years, through public-private partnership and other programs in creating sustainable jobs. There has been commendations that since 1999, Nigeria has made significant progress in economic reform. This is largely attributed to the sound economic policies combined with structural reforms to usher in sustained high growth driven by non-oil economy. Tonight on the program, we beam our searchlight on job creation in the face of COVID-19. But first, this background report by Onengie Fineface.
Emergence of COVID-19 remains the most unanticipated global crisis, which has not only challenged the health systems of the world, but sent international economies on their knees. Nigeria is not exempted, but has managed to stay relatively afloat, owing largely to policies hinged on looking inwards for local solutions to this global health, social, economic, and psychological crisis. Job creation is a crucial component of the government policies to survive the pandemic. The Economic Sustainability Plan recommends mass agricultural and housing program and extensive public works to create millions of new jobs.
We've also recommended support for local production and manufacturing of all that is possible, including technology applications, software, shoes, garments, steel fabrication, ceramics, and furniture, with the required capital and essential machinery. We've also recommended the provision of ample support for the informal sector through low-interest loans, support for MSMEs, especially in assisting to restructure their loans with banks, the expansion of the social investment program through an increase in the number of cash transfer beneficiaries, an increase in the number of Empower volunteers, and sundry traders enjoying small and micro loans to cover a large number of the extremely poor.
Other key job creation initiatives of the federal government include the Central Bank of Nigeria stimulus package for micro, small, and medium enterprises, and introduction of moratoriums on federal government-funded credit facilities to extend the regime of loans in view of COVID-19-induced incapacities in meeting debt obligations.
Health facility about 100 billion, and also for the manufacturing sector about 1 trillion naira, which companies and entrepreneurs should take advantage of to see how we can grow our industries, create jobs on our people.
To further encourage MSMEs, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control introduced a window for easy and affordable registration of new businesses.
We know that most of them were actually struggling before, and a lot of them have ideas that can actually help the economy recover. And so we sat down together and we said, look, if it's possible for us, we would like to reduce our tariff. Even if it's just a window period.
As an agency of government saddled with the responsibility to create jobs, the National Directorate of Employment embarked on the implementation of the Special Public Works Project initiated by President Muhammadu Buhari. A pilot phase in 8 states of the country birthed the second phase, which is to provide employment for 774,000 Nigerians in all the local government areas of the country.
The major job we are doing here that I can see is being done here in NDE is to build entrepreneurs. If you are trained, there's no way you won't have to have one person that will work with you. You will train others. So for me, the federal government is doing a wonderful work, at least to relieve most of us in the states of problems of people who are jobless.
Youth development and women empowerment at the same time. You see, youth now will be, what do you call it? They'll be having something doing, just to keep on the ball rolling.
Agriculture is a critical component of the federal government's job creation policy. The Green Imperative Program, for instance, is a $1.2 billion initiative to import 5,000 tractors and other farm implements for mechanized agriculture, production of raw materials, and processing centers for local consumption and export.
This will create 774 service centers nationwide to mechanize our farming methods and process or add value to farm produce locally, leading to efficiency and eliminating post-harvest losses.
The Central Bank of Nigeria also initiated a non-interest window for smallholder farmers in the Anchor Borrower Program. Success in this initiative resulted in the creation of about 5.7 million jobs in agriculture and agri-value chain, as well as cut food import base to about 80%.
We're going to be doing the largest Anchor Borrower program so far. We're looking at financing over 1.1 million farmers in a single year.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture will soon also start distributing seeds to farmers across the country. And also there is a massive program for small-scale farmers, probably hoping to cover at least 2 million farmers between now and November and December this year.
Through the National Social Investments Program, conditional cash transfers are still implemented to support vulnerable Nigerians to engage in their small businesses. Currently, the federal government has commenced processes for NPAR Batch C enrollments with provisions for graduates and non-graduates to benefit in special skills training to prepare them for employment as well as make them self-reliant employers of labor. Women are given particular attention with special trainings in skills to build their productive capacity provided by the National Center for Women Development. The center trains women in information and communication technology, agro-businesses, artisanship skills, and academic programs.
Going to government to look for a job has really tremendously reduced. Nobody is depending on government now to give him salary or give her salary. They are dependent on themselves. The little they have, they sustain the house, they help the husbands, and train the children.
Stakeholders believe Nigeria will emerge stronger at the end of the pandemic, with a population gainfully employed and in position to contribute to the nation's economic growth and development. In Abuja, Onengiye Fine Face.
Job creation in the face of COVID-19 is the focus of Tuesday Live tonight. Onengiye's Fine Face background and report sets the tone for the program tonight. It's Tuesday Live. At some point, our phone lines will be open, and when we are through to you, please turn down the volume of your television set or avoid the hallback and ask your questions and go straight to the point to enable our guests address them. Also, you can be part of the conversation tonight through our Twitter handle at Tuesday Live NTA. Well, in the course of the program also, we shall go dot the landscape of the country to bring you reports on updates of developments regarding job creation across the 3 tiers of government in the country. Tonight, I have with me Director General, National Director of Employment, NDE, Nasiru Ladan Mohammed Argungu. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
From our other studio, we have Margaret Ekpere Etta, Director General of the National Center for Women Development. Good to have you on the program tonight.
Good evening.
Also, Dr. Diko Umaru Abba, Director General, Chief Executive Officer of Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN. Welcome to Tuesday Live.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. Let's begin tonight this way. I want to ask, now we know how we call the new normal. I'm asking the new normal, I'll be asking job creation in the face of what has been your personal experience before we go into the specifics?
Well, you see, as far as I'm concerned, the government of the day consider issue of job creation as topmost priority. In the sense, even before the unfortunate coming of COVID-19, a lot has been done. I would like to narrow our experience as far as ND is concerned. Through the various programs we run in NDE, a lot of jobs were created, either in form of training or in form of cash disbursement to young men and women or Nigerians in general so that they can add up to their various businesses, or even in form of giving them starter packs after going through some training. I can tell you, before the coming of this government, 2014 and early part of 2015, the total number of jobs created as far as ND is concerned is just about 14,002. But within 3 years, we have already hit about 1.5 million through our various programs that we run in ND, right from VSD, Vocational Skill Development. Let me digress a little. If you look at ND, we have been in existence for the past 34 years. We have about 175 vocational skill centers across the country. We have over 85 agri-training centers. We have what we call common facility centers, about 20 of them. We have some of us that are old enough. They are aware of the so-called school on wheels or mobile workshops in the early 80s and late 90s. We have 26 of them across the nation.
Still functional?
Yes, 26 are functional, and they are in various nook and corners of this country so that young men and women can be trained. And in all the states, 36, 37 plus FCT, we have state offices. We have 6 zonal offices. We have our corporate headquarters here. And out of the 774 local government, presently we have 696 desk offices. We are trying to make it 774 because of the special public works that has been approved to us by Mr. President that will cover all the 774.
We'll get to that. Let me hold it there for now. Let me go to the DG of National Center for Women Development, Mary Ekpere Etta. Well, I use the word, we now have the new normal. Within the ambit of the new normal, what has been your experience before we go into specifics? I want to go around.
It has been, just like you said, it's a new normal, but at the same time, it's not a challenge to us because we are already used to empowering and developing the Nigerian women. We first of all want to thank the President for his initiative. This is the first time we're having a bottom-up approach to issue of job creation and reaching the grassroots. We have, during this COVID period, been able to escalate our program and to scale up to ensure that it gets through the grassroots. Not only by getting there, we have created and developed several means for us to reach the grassroots by giving them some form of training through with our tablet. We customize our tablet, make it available to the trainer in their various places where it is customized with the particular kind of profession or trade we wish to teach them and go through the visuals. And since my 3 years ago, we have been able to train above 10,000 based on our resources, that is based on the appropriation we have. And there have been a lot of benefit from these programs. We have been training, we give them setup pack, we train them in various skills, in artisanship. It became pertinent for us to introduce the young women into the main predominated trade of carpentry, masonry, tiling, plaster of Paris, and various other ones, welding, and mechanical aspect of it, like mechanical aspect of it, like teaching them how to repair generator, air condition, and etc. Apart from that, we use this period to do a lot of experiments to see how all these vocational skills can be carried out without physical contact by distance. Just like I told you, one of the methods is that we're able to customize our tablet to ensure that it is being used at the grassroots. We try to teach them to create other methods. We get them involved in, like for instance, the issue of sanitizer. Before now, sanitizer were expensive, and with the advent of the COVID-19, the price skyrocketed. So it behoves on us, the Nigerian women, to ensure that we teach all the women by a new method of distance learning through the webinar, how to make these sanitizers, how to stay at home, make your soap, sell and make money without looking elsewhere, and leather works, many other trades that we have been carrying. We have been taking them, all around the process. And it has worked very well. At the end of the training, we give them starter pack, we give them money to start up their trade, and we supervise to ensure that what they have taught and what they have come to learn is being practiced and they're making profit. And apart from that, apart from giving them starter pack and the loan, we try to liaise with Central Bank, NISA, and all other BIO, Bank of Agri, to see how we get them hooked to access loan or money for their businesses. And majority of them are actually doing very well. Just like you all know, when you empower a woman, you empower a nation. And we want to use this opportunity to say that it is pertinent and necessary for the three agencies that are here today to collaborate, because it seems to me that we are all delivering our services, the same services, in different directions. And we are ready, and we have the capacity in our institution to train as many women as possible. We have an ICT building. In the ICT, we carry a lot of skills in ICT area in terms of...
There for now, we'll come to specifics. Let me hold you there for now. We'll come to specifics. I go to Dr. Dikko Umaru. DG Snowden, I know the bulk of your publics or your clientele, let me use that word, happens to be in the private sector. And with the lockdown, we had so much hue and cry, lockdown, affecting operations. How was it like within this period, dealing with your clientele?
Thank you very much. First of all, today is the day we celebrated the MSME Day, so I congratulate all the Nigerian MSMEs. And again, I would like to say that the COVID-19 has came with a lot of negative effect on our businesses. Most of these businesses were affected. Based on the survey that was conducted by Fed Foundation, it indicates that about 94.6% of the MSMEs were affected by the COVID-19 lockdown. So I think, and then if you look at the statistics again, you will see that about 53% of those MSMEs are surviving on their reserves or their savings. So this has clearly indicated that MSME have been the worst hit under the lockdown, because there was a supply chain gap, there was a demand gap because the demand was so low by the clientele, and then also the supply of goods and services were also restricted due to movement. The only good thing, I think, is because most of these businesses are household businesses. So despite the lockdown, they can still sell their goods from their houses. So I think that has really helped in carrying the economy forward and moving the economy as it is today. And then you should realize also that we are talking at the segment of society which contribute about 76.6% of the workforce of this country, which include about 59.7 million people are into MSME. And under that, about 97 of those category of MSMEs fall under the macro businesses. That is those businesses that employ less than 10 persons in their businesses. So you can imagine the kind of situation we have, and we are happy with the federal government intervention at the early stage of the COVID, when the first COVID was discovered in Nigeria. After just 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the central bank were able to roll out a program under the COVID-19. 50 billion was given out to the MSMEs so that they can be able to ameliorate their sufferings. And it has gone well in supporting the MSMEs, and with a lot of other palliatives that came on board from other agencies, other regulatory agencies or supporting agencies on the development of MSME. Because SMEDAN as an agency is saddled with the responsibility of the growth and development of MSME in the country. Part of their activities include hand-holding the MSMEs, providing business development support to the MSMEs. In the capacity building aspects, SMEDAN provide training, entrepreneurship training, so that the people that are into the business will know the rigors of the business, how to carry it about, how to do it, what and what they don't want to do, how they should keep their records, how they should manage the business, because eventually MSME has the highest mortality rates, and then it has been compounded by the lockdown. And the only way they can get out of this situation, and then how we can reduce the mortality rate of the MSME, is through enhancing their capacity, hand-holding them, counseling them, monitoring them, to ensure that they got the right thing, because SMEDAN is not a funding agency, rather is more technical than funding. So the funding comes from the government financial institution or other private financial institutions, but we guide the MSME on how to access those fundings, how it can be easy, and if they are having issues, because we serve as a vanguard for the MSMEs. So if they have issues with any agency or any regulatory agencies, SMEDAN can come in to help them solve those problems. That is why we are there, and we are there to always support the MSME.
The focus once again is job creation in the face of COVID-19. We take our first report, like I told you, we shall be dotting the landscape of the country to sustain the conversation. Our first report tonight is coming from Lagos.
COVID-19, a global pandemic, has changed a whole lot. Most developing economies are already facing a harsh impact from the coronavirus, and Nigeria is not spared. According to financial experts, it just might be the hardest hit economically, and the sad reality remains a significant number of the working population have lost their jobs, and many more permanently. The burden is now on the government to find alternative ways of engaging these population of people meaningfully. This is why urgent steps are being taken to manage the fast-evolving crisis of unemployment with an increased focus and innovation. The Small Scale Enterprise is one program the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, has designed to assist Nigerians.
The government is trying hard to make things come back to normal, and also to alleviate poverty, to create wealth, to create employment. There's no small business that cannot generate employment.
We are going to improve this in our business, our running. We have an existing business, and this will help, in a big way to boost our business.
It's a good gesture. See this kind of thing at this kind of period.
Lagos State Government, on the other hand, is partnering the SMEs to create wealth and eradicate poverty through support for businesses and skills development. Individuals have also been adopting innovative measures to create jobs for themselves and others.
I urge for more. Yes, prompted me. I wanted more for myself. As we've been doing a lot of hand washing. I thought about it that now is also a very good time to start the liquid soap business, because we are doing a lot of washing of our hands.
I need the money, it's business, but at the same time, I'm thinking of we need to protect ourselves.
Interventions such as these, observers say, will cushion the effects of the pandemic.
Our next stop is Kano.
COVID-19 is arguably the biggest challenge facing humanity today, with more than 10 million cases recorded globally. In Nigeria, statistics have shown that small businesses are known to create over 80% of jobs. However, due to the coronavirus pandemic, some sectors where these businesses operate have been badly hit, rendering many to be out of work and redundant, thus an increase in the level of unemployment in the country. To help mitigate this, Kano State government has created ways of intervening by creating jobs and engaging youths on rural sensitization on COVID-19 for a stipend. This is the case with the National Directorate of Employment in the state.
We were able to recruit quite a number of nurses, quite a number of doctors, quite a number of medical practitioners in other sectors of health. We took statistics of the number of tailors through their unions in each local government, and all of them were given responsibility and were engaged. Those who have graduated recently, and we engage them in areas of having sanitizers.
In Kano, the women we trained, we engage their service to produce 20,000 face masks at a price that is very beneficial to them.
Awolo Abdullahi Megari is the chairman, Kano State Tailors Association, who spoke on how the state government initiative of mass production of face masks has helped in changing the lives of their members in the state.
It's really changed a life of not only me, many people. Most of the tailors benefit so many things within this. And also there are some people that are not the tailors that are doing packaging of the face mask, but they benefit within this program.
I'm going straight to the market to buy one or two things for my business from what I was given.
This report from Lagos and Kano sustains the conversation, and now let's go to specifics. DG NDE, within this period we have heard so much about, even the background report, the pilot special public works program in the rural areas to be domiciled with NDE, and this happened within this period. What is this program about? What informed it?
Well, thank you very much. The whole idea came up from Mr. President himself. It has to do with engagement of young Nigerians or unemployed Nigerians that are unskilled, because it has to do with taking care of critical federal government, state and local government infrastructure. So it involves 1,000 young men and women in the first 8 states that we use as the pilot studies. We have Ebonyi, Edo, Kwara, Ekiti, Adamawa, Borno, Katsina, and Jigawa states. Out of these 8 states, we pick 5 local governments in each, and in each of the 5 local governments, we engage 1,000 young men and women, and each one of them was paid 10,000 naira.
Has it taken off already?
20,000 naira.
Has it taken off already?
Yes, the first one, the pilot studies. Yes, it has taken up in 6 out of the 8 states before the unfortunate coming of COVID. It is only in Jigawa and Adamawa state that it has not taken up. But in the other 6 states, it has taken up.
When are we expecting it to have goes through the entire 774 local government areas in Nigeria?
Yeah, because of the success recorded in the pilot studies, and that's the reason why Mr. President said this thing should be extended to all the 774 local government, and we are talking of engaging 774,000 unemployed Nigerian youth.
Okay, what are we asking? Why choose public works? What would have expected to be agriculture?
Well, you know, in areas of agriculture, is one sector whereby millions of jobs can be created because of the value chain. The same thing with ICT. But when we are talking of special public works, this is multi-sectorial. This is something that involves taking care of your environment, but more specific, to do with critical federal government, state, and local government infrastructure. For example, we're in collaboration with about 8 ministries, like Ministry of Transport. They gave us the total number of young men and women on skill that they need as far as vegetation control is concerned in all the federal highways. Ministry of Agriculture, they have done a lot of work, mainly in the rural areas. PIDA roads that are in bad shape will provide working tools and other materials like chippings, lightrights, so that they can put them in shape, so that it would be much easier for the farmers to get to their farms. They have solar street lights. Some of them are not working, but they need just simple cleaning, and they will be back to normal. They gave us the total number of people they want, state by state, local government by local government, so that we can provide them with the workforce so that they can have this thing done. You know, in areas of tree planting, we're in collaboration with the Great Green Wall. We're going to provide them with the workforce they needed in all the states where they are planting their trees, you know, so that these young men and women can take care of them. Even issue of erosion control, you know, in areas where they need traffic control, we provide them with these young men and women that can do it. In areas where they have flood, maybe because the drainages are blocked, we provide them with these young men and women to clear the drainages so that there'll be free flow of water in order to avoid flood. So this is part of what is supposed to be done. And in fact, it is directly to do with taking care of your environment. The old women that were engaged, who were going to engage in this special public works, we can engage them to clean their environments, like the mosques, the churches, hospitals, and the garages, just to make sure that at least they are engaged. And the most important thing, this is a community-based grassroots program. Community-based grassroots program, so that they can take care of their environments. And if you look at the logic behind it, the government is trying to kill 3 birds, not 2 birds, 3 birds with 1 stone. For example, Mr. President said, wherever you have a group of young men and women, we are talking of 1,000, or maybe in batches of 100, we are going to engage some religious leaders so that they can preach the importance of self-reliance and the importance of living in peace and harmony. That is one aspect. Number 2, to you, 60,000 in 3 months is nothing. But if you look at what is happening in our rural areas, some of our mothers, their capital is no more than 5,000-10,000 naira. By the time you have 60,000, if you can utilize that money judiciously, sky is the limit for you. If you are a farmer, you have 60,000, I believe you have more than enough to buy a water pumping machine so that you can continue your farming business. And that's the reason why we also come in to give them BBT, basic business training, so that they can utilize this money. That is bird number 2. Bird number 3, that we are killing with 1 stone. We also engage them, talking to them as far as their community responsibility, so that they can be responsible to their community. And this is very, very important as far as issue of security is concerned. So the whole issue is not just putting them on special public works. There are other things that follow that, and that was what I just mentioned.
Okay. We'll go into other areas of this initiative. Let me go to the DG of Smedan. Before I take on DG of National Women Development Center. DG Smedan, you have talked about in your opening that SMSs are highly they have a high mortality rate. Let me quote you directly. And you talked also about the supply chain gap, the demand chain gap. And looking at all this, did this in any way trigger you to think about maybe a new normal within this period, or that created new initiatives?
Very much. You know, we already have some programs in place. Most of those businesses that have high mortality rate are macro businesses. And these macro businesses, 95% of them are people who are operating their business informally. They didn't formalize their system. They are largely in the rural area. They didn't have Western education. So it is very difficult for you to develop those kind of businesses from macro to small and small to medium. Hence the need for Smedan to create an initiative, which we created what we call conditional grant scheme. The purpose of the conditional grant scheme is to create for the following. First is to formalize them. Secondly is to create more employment for Nigerians. Secondly is for them to scale up their production and scale up their businesses, meaning more income to them. And as well as it will also have an advantage on the part of business, on the part of government, that tax can be collected from those people. What the program entails generally is to identify those kind of people. We started the pilot project in 2017. We selected 6 states of the Federation, 1 from each geopolitical zone. And in each state of the Federation, we choose 100 people from that location. We train them, giving them entrepreneurship training. We register them with CSE so that they formalize their business, and it is Smedan that pays for the registration of those MSMEs selected. And then we give them a micro insurance for 1 year so that it will cover the risks and the problems that may be associated with the business. And then we also give them a grant of 50,000 to boost their business, with the condition that they will improve, they will add 1 additional person into the business. So in that pilot study, we have given the conditional grant scheme to about 19,000 Nigerians, meaning those that are in macro businesses, meaning they have created 19 additional jobs. Because at the end of the program, we even put a performance award in which we measure the performance of those MSME and select 3 out of those 100 from each state so that we can give them additional 150,000 naira to support them. So that was to create competition among them, and then they can be able to do. So under that program, we run it from 2017 up to now, and the importance of that program is very apt now because the country wants to create more jobs, and the country needs to formalize most of these MSMEs, macro businesses, because the essence of formalizing them is to allow them to grow, because the chances of growth of any business that is informal is very limited. So there is need for you to build the capacity of them, give them a little support, and then try to put them in the mainstream. After 1 year, it's expected that those businesses can go to any financial institutions because we have open bank account for them at their doorsteps. So it's expected of them to go to any bank and get a lot of money they need to do their businesses, and they have also experienced the cover of the mark insurance, and they know the importance of insurance. They will inculcate it part of their business. So that is the only way, because I can tell you there was a time I visited South Korea. I was talking to a colleague of mine who heads an agency like Smedan in South Korea, and I was asking him how many informal macro and small businesses they have in their country. He told me that they don't have any informal because all their businesses in South Korea are registered. But that is not what we have in a country like Nigeria, because we are just growing. and we have the number of the MSMEs that we have in Nigeria. When you look at it, you have 41.5 million MSMEs in the country, but out of that figure is only 73,000 that are small businesses, that is small industries or small enterprises. And what I mean by the small enterprises are those enterprises that employs 10 to less than 50, and they have the capital base of 10 million to less than 100 million. So in Nigeria, from the statistics that was conducted between SMEDAN and National Bureau of Statistics, we found out that we have only 73,000. So, and in the medium scale businesses, we have only less than 2,000, and that means those ones who employ people from 50 to less than 200 and have a capital base of 100 million to less than 1 billion naira. These are what we call the medium enterprises. So all the 99.7% of the entire enterprises in the countries are micro, meaning they employ only less than 10%, and then they have a capital base of 1 naira to less than 10 million naira. So
I'll come to you. Let's take our first caller. I'll come back to you on other areas. Our first caller tonight is calling from the FCT, Oga. Hello, Oga.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You're on to Tuesday Live.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I'm so happy that this program is on. This is the second time I've had the opportunity of listening to the director of NDE. And honestly, sir, you are doing a great job. But I wanted to ask, sir, there are recent times we've been told that for somebody to access this loan, you have to, first of all, be trained. Now, my question is, how many of those people that are going to attend such training, what is the guarantee that at the end of the day, everyone that attends this training is able to access those loans? Because most of these people we are talking about, these are people that cannot even afford, they don't have this financial means. Now, most of the time we have private people that are also inside these training programs, and they tell you, come for training, 10,000 is for the training, and within a week, you will be well trained and you will have access to this financial empowerment, something government has promised. What is the assurance that after this training, everyone that attends this training will have opportunity of accessing this loan, sir?
Okay. Oga asks a direct question.
Well, Mr. Oga, thank you very much for commenting us. For you to access loan in NDE, you don't need to undergo any training. We have a department called SSCE, Small Scale Enterprise. All you need to do, you come to any of our offices, either the corporate office in Abuja here or our other office in Buari. You need to come there with a proposal. Let's assume you want to get involved either in poultry, farming, fishery, or maybe bakery. All you need to do, you come to us. By the time you come to us with your proposal, they will look at it to see the viability of that proposal. If they believe it's a good proposal, they will just give you what we call BBT, Basic Business Training, on how to manage that. But of course, because of the experience we had before as far as loan repayment is concerned, and that's the reason why we make it air or watertight for anybody to access a loan. The team will sit with you, you tell them what you want to do, and if you have site where you want to do this business, poultry or fishery, they will visit the place, look at it, and then they will make recommendation. And within shortest possible time, we'll access the loan. And for those that we train, whereby after training them, they want to access any form of loan, we have collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria, with Bank of Industry and even Bank of Agriculture. NERSAP, microfinance, all you need to do after we train you, will give you a certificate. It is that certificate that you will present to any of this agency, and that certificate is like your guarantor as far as ND is concerned. And they will look into what you were trained on, and they will look at what needs to be done as far as the loan you are looking for. And I'm telling you, Mr. Udo, a lot of people have accessed this loan. In Kano State, I'm telling you, in Kano State alone, through NISL, more than 40,000 people have accessed this loan. Quite appreciable number in Sokoto State and other states.
So to address this fear, he said, what's the guarantee that if you're trained, you get the loan?
As far as I'm concerned, if we train you, we give you a certificate on whatever trade we train you on. And we'll make it much easier for you because we have this understanding with NISL, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, or even CBN through ADMIS. And it will be much, much easier for him to get the loan.
Okay. Our second caller is calling from Ilorin, Kwara State. Omar. Hello, Omar. Hello, Omar. You're on to Tuesday Live. It looks we lost that caller. Well, let me go to the DG.
I have a question for
Omar is on.
For the NDE director. Hello, can you hear me?
Can we speak up? Yeah, we can hear you, but speak up. Well, we lost that caller. Well, let's go to the DG of the National Women Development Center in Abuja, Mary Ekpere. You have heard from the DG NDE and the DG Smeden. I want to deviate a bit and go a bit gender based on what you do. Given that we are within the 25th year of post-Beijing and the women have come up with 12 critical areas of concern, and one of it is what we're talking about here, job creation. What are you going to do to mainstream women into all this at NDE and also at Smeden?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to take a quote from Kofi Annan. Gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenges of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building the government. But unfortunately, in this country and most parts of the world in Africa, women are sidelined in this area of development. Yes, the National Center for Women Development is existing. It has all the structure and facility to train women in thousands, but the resources are not there. I may use this opportunity to say that even in the post-COVID finances, we are not beneficiary, and the ministry is not the beneficiary of that program. So it makes it, we are financially constrained, so it makes it difficult for us to deliver on our mandate. But however, being women, we cannot fold our arms to say we will not deliver because we are not beneficiary of the post-COVID fund and other grants that are being given. We've gone further with the ICT department to create the platform where we can reach our women in the rural area by helping them, like I said earlier, customizing a tablet, building applications, opening websites for them, to help them to market their goods, to display their good in the market and reach their targeted clients. Just like you know, the issue of interaction because of the COVID is very difficult, it's not obtainable as is against part of the COVID protocol. So by so doing, we have assisted our women staying at home to market their products to their clients and reach them and still be in business. And at the same time, we are collaborating with NDE and other government agency and ministry like humanitarians and other to see how we ensure that women are beneficiary of this fund for the post-COVID. However, the National Center for Women Development a Center for Excellency and Gender Equality for Sustainable Women Development. We're doing our best. We have our various training spies from Etiquette and all other, and sundry. We are available to assist all the other agencies that have been funded or are beneficiary to the post-COVID fund to help them to drive the agenda of the president to the grassroots and ensure that the president's mandate is achieved by reaching the grassroots, which is this administration's desire.
Okay, let's take the next caller, Suleiman. Suleiman is calling me from Kano. Hello, Suleiman. Hello, Suleiman.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello, I can hear you, sir.
Go ahead, we can hear you too. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead.
My name is Suleiman from Kano, sir. I want to make a contribution regarding job creation.
Suleiman, don't listen to yourself. Please turn down the volume of your television set and make your contribution,
regarding
please.
Job creation, sir, I just want to share with the participants I want to share with the DG and other respected participants in this program, sir, what is worrying us from experience. I don't know whether that can help us in Nigeria regarding job creation. Particularly in Kano down here, we notice most of the technicians doing POP in building industries are people from Cotonou, Ghana, and Cameroon. And I had interaction with one that they have not attended any formal education, but they have a center that they acquire these schools and they acquire these skills, and their government recognize that certificate without necessarily passing through primary or secondary or even tertiary institution, but they are skill acquisition centers, and they are gradually coming into Nigeria, taking over the jobs of our youth. I can assure you that even yesterday, I noticed in a neighborhood that the people that are doing this POP, I interacted with them, and they say they are from Benin Republic. And here we are, we have thousands who have not been able to go to school, but they have this brain. But we don't have centers like this that can train and recognize that skill to give them support so that their training can be utilized and they have job doing. So I don't know if this will help us a great deal in recognizing the people who have not gone to school, but they have the talent to acquire skills that they can make a living for their life and save a lot of things in this country. Thank you. This is my contribution.
Thank you, Suleiman. And if I will allow the DG of Smidan to react to that, I know there is an executive order signed by Mr. President to that effect. How are you implementing this?
I think it's a very good suggestion or recommendation. We have thought of this. Most of these countries, there are specifically some countries who tailor their training towards international transfer of human resources. Example, you see some people are trained internationally on how to be electricians, how to be plumbers, how to be masons, how to do all other jobs, even the POP and the rest of it. They have institutions to do that, and they meet all the international standards. So these people are ready for transfer in case of any country that needs to have that that kind of skills or gap to meet up those gaps. In Nigeria, I don't think we have this kind of platform or this kind of institutions that train people who are not educated, who didn't go to any Western school, but they have their talent and skills to do that. And I think the institution that is working on that at the moment is ITF. ITF is working hard on that, and I think if they collaborate well with the NDE, they can be able to have that kind of, and I don't know for NDE, maybe they are doing something of that nature, but I know We have discussed with ITF on that, and they have even visited Brazil. They visited Sinai in Brazil, which is equivalent of what they do. And when you go there, you see them how they tailored, and it was a strategic plan to meet all that kind of need, because you find a situation whereby Nigerians will go to other countries because they were not tailored structured training to meet international standard. You see that they don't have that nitty and gritty to do. They have the intelligence, they have the talent, but maybe the precision, how to do it rightly, and you know, is something that even our tailors, when you look at it, if you go to Dubai or any other country, you see how those tailors are doing their things strategically, and the precision in the way they do their things is really very quite encouraging. So I think this is something that we need to do as a country for us to benefit and reap from that very wide market that exists under that, and to be able to capitalize on that and take up the jobs in Nigeria, and also spread our wings to the West African countries also to do those kind of things. The most important thing is expertise, professionalism, and precision in what we do and how we do our things. And I think ITF is doing something about that. And I think if they put heads together with NDE, because they do things, the most of their training are centered on vocational and skills acquisitions, whilst Maiden training is centered on entrepreneurship development. So I think if they put all their things together and we collaborate well, we can be able to achieve that, and then Nigerians will benefit from that.
At this point, we'll take a break. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for staying tuned. Our Twitter handle is busting already, but at this point, our first reports came from northwest and southwest. Now we go south-south and southeast, beginning with southeast, Aba.
Job creation has been one of the policy thrusts of President Muhammadu Buhari since his inception in office 5 years ago. In view of this, several programs have been mapped out to get Nigerian youths off the streets. One of such is the Empower program. With the outbreak of COVID-19 and its attendant challenges, the administration has marched towards with action in cushioning its effects in different areas. In Aba, Abia State, agro-businesses, small and medium enterprises as well as investment schemes have been receiving incentives from the federal government. Other areas are the creative arts, information and communication technology, fashion and manufacturing, where about 2,000 people are expected to benefit from the intervention soon.
For any economy to be sustained, the government has to bring in an intervention. One of these interventions is what they call the AXMIX program. And recently the COVID, there have been several other interventions which the government is doing.
The federal government is doing a lot. Even in the medical sector, there's also another loan. I think they are disbursing I think at 5%.
To assess this single-digit interest loan, these youths gathered here are on a one-week training to acquire requisite knowledge in business management as a prerequisite to access the fund.
Having this fund in place, which give you single-digit interest, is awesome.
Most of them are hopeful that in the end, their small-scale businesses will grow to the extent that it will make profit with a guaranteed prosperous future for them. COVID-19 may have been having its damaging effect on the nation's economy, but with all effort now being made to strengthen businesses and engage more persons for self-reliance, any future impact of the pandemic will no doubt be ameliorated.
Our next report is from Calabar, Cross River State.
It is the thought of the Cross River State government that fighting the COVID-19 pandemic should be carried out on a multifaceted approach to curb the spread of the virus as well as prevent crime while providing food on the table for the people. While other states in Nigeria were under total lockdown, Cross River State practiced lockout but permitted economic activities within the state with strict adherence and enforcement on NCDC protocols such as no mask, no movement, distribution and use of alcohol-based hand sanitizers, closure of schools and worship centers to ensure social and physical distancing, among others. Apart from cushioning the economic hardship faced by the people through distribution of palliatives, the state government is engaging youths in the transplanting of 10 million improved cocoa seedlings for rehabilitation of government-owned cocoa estates and employment of youths in agriculture.
All these young people you see here, they are product of COVID-19 employment scheme, because we had agreed that we were going to create 8,000 new jobs, 5,000 of them within the agri-beneficiation process.
We have employed over 5,000 applicants who came for employment over COVID-19 pandemic.
With the employment of this youth, there's not going to be any idle moment for them.
At the garment factory, government is also increasing the production of face masks and PPEs through the engagement of youths and widows.
We decided to create employment for our people, for our teeming population of Cross River State. We had to engage 1,000 persons into the garment factory.
The Cross River State government has remained resolute in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic to provide livelihood for its people and reduce hunger, especially in the post-COVID-19 era.
Well, our Twitter handle is bursting with a lot of reactions, but we'll just take first three and allow our guests react to them generally. As they listen, begin with the first coming from at Dr. Dre. It is a welcome idea to what this government is doing, but tribalism and religious affair are being attached. For example, I was one time among those who went for fund under a FADAMA program after my screening, and others I wasn't given the loan simply because I'm not an indigene. The next one at Ahmed. Good evening to all my contribution, to all the guests. My contribution is just an appeal to President Muhammadu Buhari to please, as the applications show, the number is increasing, so let them increase the employment also, because the Nigerian youths, 60 to 70% are unemployed. Thanks, God bless Nigeria. The last on this series is from WIEP. It says, weak management, complex structures, and inadequate funding hinders the success of such programs and people are kept on hold, how would you ensure that this brilliant plan is sustained even after this administration? God bless Nigeria. Let's begin with you.
Well, thank you very much. Before we went on break, Suleiman from Kano made a very good contribution and observation. Mr. Suleiman, if you are still with us, we are seriously working on that. As I'm talking to you, we have 2 centers, one in Sabwa, Katsina State, one in Okanu, Ondo State. These are centers that are well equipped with dormitory facilities. Before I came to NDE, these centers are considered as agri parks, mainly training young men and women in various fields of modern agriculture through our program under Rural Employment Promotion called Sustainable Agri Training Scheme. But as I'm talking to you, we are expanding on that. We are going to involve a lot of trades. We are going to engage a lot of Nigerians that have excellent ideas. You know, local artisans, master crafters, without any formal education, so that after we train them, we'll issue them with certificate. As I'm talking to you, last time before the issue of COVID, we tried to push through ILO so that NDE train that are certified will be recognized by ILO. And once we achieve that, sky is the limit. Anybody we train, he can get job anywhere in the world. So that is for the 2 agri parks that we are now trying to convert to multipurpose as far as training is concerned. Our big skill center in Buari is multi-sectorial. We are training a lot of young men without any formal education there, and immediately after their training, we also issue them with certificates. So we are working on that. By the time we finish our expansion in our Sabwa Center in Katsina and our Okanu Center in Ondo State, I think a lot of young men, not just within those areas, will be involved because we have dormitory facilities.
Okay, let me take on the DG of SMIDA before I go to DG of National Women Development Center. Dr. Diko, now, going to your portal, I want to veer off a bit, but within the issues. It clearly says SMIDA will continue to support the development of MSMEs for economic growth and development in Nigeria through innovative and sustainable policies. It also says it is poised to tackling the challenges of unemployment through programs. Now, today, the United Nations at a high-level meeting launched a UN Alliance on Poverty. And when President Muhammadu Buhari spoke, he was very emphatic in this direction, that the world is worrisome regarding the fact that currently more than 7 million in the world are in extreme poverty for lack of job and economic progress. Over 54% in Nigeria out of 200 million people live in poverty. Now, looking at your portal, what you said, and the concern Mr. President raised today to the UN, what direction is SMIDA heading?
It's true. I think all the things that you mentioned have relationship. Poverty has a relationship with business, and then lack of business also has a relationship with poverty. Entrepreneurship also has a relationship with poverty, and lack of it also has a relationship. So I think it interweaves in between them. But the final and the good solution to everything to get out of poverty permanently is for people to be entrepreneurs. Once they are entrepreneurs, they can look at opportunity and try to provide a solution. That is what we call an entrepreneur. So what we are saying basically is in SMIDA, we came up with a program which we call OLOP. The purpose of that program is to create rural industrialization. When you industrialize in the rural area, it means you create more jobs and the people will get out of poverty quickly. So that under that program, One Local Government, One Product, we are centered on the organic clusters where people organize themselves and doing a common business. We look at it, we look at their needs. If it's machinery, we provide them with the machineries. If it's working capital, we give them working capital. We give them training, provide a workspace for them, and then for them to scale up their product. But what we require in Nigeria now is scale up. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, but they are where they are 10 years or 20 years back. What they need to do is to scale up, improve on their businesses. Once they scale up and improve their businesses, there is chance for them to have more people in their payroll. So the more you produce, the more you sell, the more you package well, the more you have a very hygienic product, the more you have a lot of customers to take your product. The more we take advantage of the African Free Continental Trade Zone that was signed by Mr. President, so that our people can be able to sell their product if they can meet the competitiveness of the region. Because as at today, if we didn't improve on our quality, the branding and what have you, we end up being a dumping ground by the West African countries into Nigeria. So I think what that program centered on was to try to industrialize the rural area. We find an organic cluster, train that people, give them a machinery and the working capital, and that machinery and working capital is a loan through a bank. But we are giving a subsidy. They are only paying 70% of that loan. 30% of the loan is part of the federal government incentive to help those businesses to grow. And then there is no interest component in the loan. They are paying back only 70% as part of the federal government incentive. What this program entails is a support that we are giving to the MSMEs to industrialize that. And I can tell you there are success stories under the OLOP program. There are people who have started small, they have now improved, and they have improved their branding. You can find their product in most of the major supermarkets in Nigeria, courtesy of this program, OLOP. And I think if there should be more funding on OLOP, we will have more jobs to be created, and we produce products which have quality that can compete with any other product globally or regionally. So I think if we can get more funding, because each year we go to 109 senatorial districts and select a product in a particular local government and fund them. Because of the situation of funding, we are only funding 109 cooperatives each year to support them to industrialize and to scale up their production and to improve on the quality of their products. So I think there are a lot of other products, as the Women's Center mentioned, that we have even gender-sensitive projects, like we have a YSP, which is Women in Self-Employment. The aim of that program is to identify women who are in self-employment and then try to give them some machineries that will help them to improve what they are doing. And I want to say that majority of the MSMEs that are doing well in this country are women, because women are, it has been proven that they are one of the best business managers. They manage business very well, and if they have a very solid support, I believe women can be able to turn around this nation. Even the BMO support we give out, the relationship we have with the business membership organizations, which is a perfect relationship and a good relationship, most of the seriousness came from the women business owners. And they are the people that mostly we carry them to international exhibitions and international trade, so that they can match their product, they can create business link between those countries. Especially every year we go to China International Trade Fair for small and medium businesses. We carry MSME to those trade fairs, they display their goods and services, and they are able to get people who like their good, and they can also source for machinery and transfer of technology from those countries to Nigeria, all in an effort to create more jobs for Nigerians and to create a better life and better income for the Nigerian families.
Okay, I'll come to DG Women Development, but let's take this caller from Lagos. Peter. Hello, Peter. Hello, Peter. Hello, Peter, if you can hear me, you're on to Tuesday Live tonight.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
We can hear you, go ahead.
Hello.
We can hear you, go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
It seems we are not hearing Peter. We will discontinue with that call, please.
Yeah. How are you, sir?
We can hear you, go ahead, Peter, please, go ahead.
My contribution is, I want to ask a question. I'm asking a question. What is the curriculum? What is the curriculum of the NDC with NAPTEP? The relationship of NDC with NAPTEP, that is Nigeria Technical Education Board. What is their relationship? That is number one. Number two, the former technical education 6334 education system, what happened to it? And what the government is trying to do to revive technical education system in Nigeria?
Well, that's the more we can take from Peter. Well, Peter, I think his question is related, but we're not looking at technical issues today, but I think it's related to maybe towards entrepreneurship or thereabout. Maybe let me allow the DG of National Women Development Center to respond to this question. And my question goes strictly to the fact that before we took Peter's call, the DG of Smedan commended women. I believe you were so elated about it. And this clearly shows that policy dialogue, engaging policymakers is key to what we are discussing here. So what plans do you have by way of engaging policymakers towards innovative job creation that is sustainable for women? Do you have plans towards this direction? Besides your collaboration with NDE and Smedan, what other agencies are you planning to engage with so that we can do more for women in Nigeria?
First of all, before I go to the question, before Mr. Suleiman goes to bed, he asks about specialization. I want to tell you that the National Center for Women Development is modeled after INSTROM, that's the United Nations International Research, Training and Development Institute for the Advancement of Women. What does that mean? Is that we are to teach or train women in specialized area who can compete with any international market or our regional market, which is all our mandate. We have the ICT Center, well equipped, and it is ready. It could train as many women as possible for specialized jobs who can fit in the international market in every aspect. In every business you do today, without ICT, you cannot excel. And this ICT institution has been run or supported by the American Embassy, they call it America Corner, for over 10 years. The agreement came to an end late last year. We also have the Training Institute for Vocational Skill, where we teach cosmetology, fashion and designing, interior decoration. They are well specialized area. We have people who can train you from the beginning of the program of the product to packaging to international standard. The same thing applicable to all other departments, agro-biz and artisanship and every other thing we do. So it is not that we lack institution or we lack training on specialization. So I would like to the NDE and the Smedan to take advantage of our institution because we are we have international reputation, and the institution is accredited by MBTE, which means that if you are trained by the National Center for Women Development, you are a specialist who can work both home and abroad. And in what area you're trained, be it in packaging or production, you are satisfied. You can work in every area. In the artisan, we have the commerce and industry who satisfy them with treaters 1, 2, 3, depending on the area of specialization. So I don't think, like he said, that we do not have institution for specialization. We have. All we need to do is to collaborate so that other developing agency or training institution or training agency like NDE and SMIDAN, ITF should take advantage of what we have to train other women. And in our own part, we have using, in order to ameliorate, to look at the pledge of women in their businesses, especially during this COVID. We have been collaborating, not just only in NDE, humanitarian and other places. We intend to collaborate, like already we are working with NISA. Somebody talked about training persons to assess loan. Yes, you will be trained in the area in which you have chosen to develop your business. After training you, our certificate speak for itself, is recognized and respected all over the country and all over the world. So you use that to assess any loan. I don't think any of the financial institutions will reject a certificate that emanated from National Center for Women Development because it is creditable, and all our previous training have done so well. The best car wash maker in this town was trained by the National Center for Women Development, and he has trained so many persons in the country. And even NDE and other organizations have been using him. And it affects every other area. And apart from that, we are trying to make policies, that is for the ministry, to ensure that all that we do are protected and help the woman to promote their business in the international market in collaboration with the Chambers Commerce and Industry, where, just like the SMIDAN have said, most times they use these women for exhibition and they do very well in their businesses. We have scaled up and we still hope to scale up further to ensure that the women product are recognized or acceptable in the market, especially in the area of packaging. We have we are trying to collaborate with some other international agencies to see how packaging, which is the major problem we are facing now, will meet the international markets. And in the area of agriculture, like as I speak right now, we have engaged several women in agriculture. Basically, we are focusing now in cassava, number one. Why cassava? Ethanol is a product of cassava, and ethanol is very vital in not just sanitizer, in medicine and many other areas. So if they are able to produce enough ethanol in this country, then we are going to save the country from saving foreign exchange instead of using it to import ethanol. And it's applicable to in area of snail farming, aquaculture, poultry. We have engaged all these women. We are employing, and begging all other related agencies to support us to ensure that we support the Nigerian women to improve the GDP of this country. Like 75% of women are involved in a small and medium scale industry. So it is very pertinent. The women's sector is very, very important. It should not be forgotten. It should be taken very serious to ensure that we deliver our mandate. And I'm sure if that is done, the result within a short while will be seen. And I will say again that there is no effective tools for development than the empowerment of the women. So the Nigerian women should be taken seriously. Everything should be done to make sure that this sector is properly taken care of. Like if you look at on KP workers, that is when you come about the small and medium scale industry, we hold the Nigerian Women Data Bank. That is, we have the information and data of all the Nigerian women who are involved in various enterprises. So if you need those data and those, which is the major thing in building an economy, I think SMIDAN and other, you could get those data for us to reach the Nigerian women. And we have 774 women development centers that will be utilized. If utilized properly, it will enhance our GDP. That is to say that in every local government of this federation, we have a women development center as a skill acquisition center. And in every of the local government you go, they are specialized in a particular trade. And in the center, we have a shop that is a shopping mall which display goods from all the rural women, and most of them through that channel market their product a lot. Thank you.
When we return, we shall allow the DG of NDE to explain further on the criteria for engagement towards the creation of the 774,000 jobs across the country. But after this Vox Pop, beginning with Kaduna.
It's quite significant and remarkable that the federal government, under the condition of pandemic, had initiated this mass job creation through the Federal Ministry of Labor in partnership with National Directorate of Employment. The work plan is that there will be 1,000 jobs created in each of the 774 local governments of the Federation.
There is a palliative which was introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria to cope the present economic crisis brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. I think first and foremost, each and every individual that is qualified would be advised to take advantage of that Central Bank of Nigeria program. The states, the local communities should advise their people to take the advantage.
The government came up with these policies, sent to CBN, sent to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and some of them, the institutions are already there in existence and they are giving it out. If you happen to be a beneficiary, use the money for the purpose it was intended for.
The next Vox Pop is coming from Port Harcourt.
In recent development in the oil and gas, a lot of Nigerians are benefiting.
By developing skills in the individual, when they acquire the capital, the human capital to do things on their own, that will stimulate growth in the economy.
I think one of the best ways to improve employment is agricultural productivity, because that one is going to cause increase in the food production, it's going to cause employment generation with the youth, and the money will revolve.
We go to Ogun.
We can also use is information and communication technology. With Infotech, we will improve. The need for technology during this COVID period have shown that all schools need to have the technology infrastructure to teach.
Which sector majorly can we channel our effort to in terms of job creation at this time? Tell you that it is technology. We discovered that in this period of COVID-19, a good number of entrepreneurs are spring forth.
The government needs to come to the aids of the people that employ laborers, because majority of private companies now are retrenching their workers because there's no way. And maybe the government can stand as a surety for owners of business and companies.
During this pandemic, a lot of people have made money. Look at those who are making the face masks, the tailors, they made a lot of money. Those who read one or two things about chemical composition, whether mixture or compound, they made a lot of money trying to give us sanitizers.
After the Vox Pop, we'll sustain the conversation tonight. I know a lot of the viewers listening to the DG of NDE will be asking, what's the criteria for engaging 774,000 Nigerians, 1,000 per local government area across 774 local government areas in the country? So what's the criteria? But before then, let's take this update on COVID-19 just reaching us now. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has just sent in the latest update that shows that Nigeria has 561 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. The breakdown shows that Lagos has 200, followed by Edo with 119. Kaduna and FCT 52 each. Niger 32, while Jigawa has the least number of 1. This brings the total figure of confirmed cases to 25,694, with 9,746 discharged and 590 deaths. That's the NCDC update on COVID-19. And tonight we are doing job creation in the face of COVID-19. Now, what's the criteria for selecting beneficiaries or would-be beneficiaries when all this takes off?
The criteria is there is no need for formal education. Once you are a Nigerian, 18 years and above, you are qualified. And unemployed, you are qualified.
The concern is when government comes up with this kind of lofty programs, it is meant for all Nigerians, but at some point they want to give it a political slant, an interest slant. That's where the concern is.
You see, I tell you, as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the constitution of that committee to some extent, as far as I know, part of the 20-member state selection committee, the ones that I know, the representative of civil society organization, representative of either, depending on the area, either ASU, ASU, or NUJ, representative of youth organization, representative of National Union of Transport Workers, representative of the two main religious bodies, Islam and Christianity, representative of traditional rulers. As far as I know, if you look at the constitution of this committee, you know these are people that will not keep quiet if anything is done not according to the rules of engagement. And whether we like it or not, this is a community-based grassroots program. There is no way we can shun away from political undertone as far as this program is concerned. Members of the National Assembly, they are elected by people, mainly from the grassroots. So for us to succeed in whatever we're doing, there should be some element of involvement from them. They are the ones that are elected by people. You cannot just walk into National Assembly, open an office and enter, because we are not elected. And the fact that they are elected, just like the way we involve traditional rulers, to some extent, they have to be involved as far as selection committee is concerned. Because, number one, they need to create jobs within their localities. Number two, they are credible. So to some extent, they will monitor exactly what is happening. So this is part of the criteria we used. And because of problems of duplication and whatever it is, the forms that we're about to print, they have some security costs in them. There is no way you can just go and duplicate them. And the fact that we're engaging some banks as far as this program is concerned, and most of the banks that we want to engage them based on their widespread, their ICT compliance and the rest of them. We're submitting the forms to them, 1,000 in each local government. After the selection process, you go to the bank, they'll open an account for you.
So you now have more than 1,000 forms for local government area.
In order to avoid abuse, what we intend to do, we'll send 1,000. In case of any damage, then they'll let us know. Using our various desk offices in that local government, it is very easy to supply 1 or 2 that is damaged. But what we intend to do, we are going to print 774. Even if we are printing anything extra, it's not going to be more than 5,000 pieces.
Okay. And we hope that the guidelines to be given to a local government will be transparent and also that one person does not take it to one particular political unit and delivers the entire 1,000.
You see, based on our experience from the pilot studies that we carried out, there are some loopholes. not only we had small problem as far as Ebonyi State is concerned, but we learned from our mistakes, and that's the reason why any form of shady deal, I believe, I cannot say 100%, but it's next to impossible. It's next to impossible.
Okay, we'll come to that. DG Smithson, let me bend backwards a bit. The targeted year of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is 2030, and like someone said in one of the programs, he said 2030 is just like yesterday. And Goal 8, which centers on decent work and economic growth. I bring up this because whatever we are doing in Nigeria, we should be tailoring it alongside the principles of Goal 8 of the SDGs. And quoting copiously from it, it says this goal provides decent work and economic growth, encouraging entrepreneurship and job creation. Key to it are effective measures to eradicate forced labor, slavery, and human trafficking. So, what's your projection if we tailor job creation in the face of COVID-19, post-COVID-19, new normal? What's your projection, Nigeria, towards achieving SDGs on job creation 2030?
Thank you very much. I think we are in the right track. We are on the right track because in the history of Nigeria, there is no government which has social responsibility packages than the Buhari administration. I can tell you this is the only government that rolled out 500 billion for social intervention, which created a lot of jobs, which created a lot of incentives to MSMEs and other job agencies. And I think it has gone a long way in solving the problems of unemployment and achieving the goal of the sustainable goal, the United Nations Sustainable Goal. And I think it is also, when you look at the report of the Economic Sustainability Plan of Mr. President, chaired by the Vice President, which was submitted to Mr. President, under MSME and job creation, you see that there are a lot of programs which can create millions of jobs within this space of time, post-COVID. The first one was the guarantee uptake of the MSME product and services. When you have that guaranteed take-up of MSME product and services, you are creating more jobs, because it's trying to achieve and safeguard about 300,000 jobs out of the existing 100,000 MSMEs in the country. And it's going to impact on about 1 million individuals under that package alone. And then it goes and it carries on for a very long time. And we also have a low interest loans without prescribed prescribe this collateral by the banks. Especially, we have seen an example of the COVID-19 50 billion funds. There was no collateral, and there is no even the guarantor form is not existing in that. Even in the agribusiness, such small and medium incentive scheme, there is no collateral. The collateral is the training certificate you either get from NDE or SMEDAN or any other certified entrepreneurship institution. So I think these are also part of this effort that the federal government is making. And again, there is a loan restructuring and then adjustment of the moratorium of all the existing loans, which will help in so many ways in creating more jobs and creating more sustainability on the economy of this country. And there is also a payroll support that is rolled out for MSMEs that will help to eliminate the problems of the suffered by the MSMEs in paying the wages and the salaries of their staffs. In fact, they are targeting 50,000 SMEs, and then they are targeting those who have employment of 10 people to about a maximum of 50 people in their pay register. So I think with the combination of all this effort and the existing one, and I want to call on the Nigerians to look back even the campaign for the use of made in Nigerian goods and products, it helps a lot in creating more jobs. Look at just a simple example. The Anko Borrower Scheme rolled out by this administration has helped Nigeria to be an import-free country of rice. We are able to produce the rice that we can eat. We can be able to generate more employment in that sector. And under that sector alone, only God knows, with this lockdown under the COVID-19, which stops all importation of anything, I don't know how much we could have been buying the bag of rice. Maybe it will have reached more than 100,000. But because we produce rice, we eat what we produce, the rice prices remain stable even under the COVID-19 lockdown. And if you look also at the fertilizer industry, you know how much we were buying fertilizer before. But because of the incentives of the federal government, a lot of jobs under that sector were created. And some of the jobs that were created help us to reduce the prices of fertilizer and makes the farming process cheaper and quicker and faster. And it helps us to have more fertilizer blending plants. And more Nigerians got employment, and the value chain is too much that some people that goes to the market and says, if you look at the value chain, the performance is very enormous, and we must commend the administration for doing this very wonderful job. And nobody, even a critic, will have to look at all these achievements of this administration and will have to give a support to this administration to create more jobs for the teeming unemployed youth in Nigeria. And I also want to call again, government should also add more effort, and then we should also, as a matter of urgency, create more synergy and collaboration between agencies of government. Because we are working in silos, the whole thing that we are doing is for the betterment of Nigerians. We are not doing it for ourselves. We were appointed by Mr. President to run this administration, to run those agencies for Mr. President. So there is no reason why we should work in silos. We should work as partners and coordinate the activities of government, because the aim is for the benefit of the Nigerian citizens, irrespective of those citizens being APC or PDP or whatever. But they are Nigerians, and Nigerians must benefit from this administration, because Nigerians voted for Mr. President, and he has an obligation and mandate to serve all Nigerians. And we that were appointed by Mr. President will have a mandate to we have a responsibility to ensure that he met the mandate given to him by Nigerians.
DG Women Development Center, 774,000 jobs, 1,000 across 774 local government areas in Nigeria will be a leap towards achieving Mr. President's target of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Now, given the criteria the NDDG has given for qualifying to be part of it, what ideas will you give so it is totally transparent in achieving this?
Very much. By the criteria the ND has given, I think it's a fair criteria that is included women. We have the market women there, which represent the Nigerian women in business. We have the religious leader, who are always very fair and just in the approach on distributing of wealth to everybody. The criteria is fair enough, but I would like to add, to lean my voice, that a certain percentage be taken out for women. Just like you know, the women do very well in business, and they are honest business women. And this economy is driven by women. I would ask that 30% should be set aside, or 45% should be set aside basically for Nigerian women. I think that is the criteria that is missing or lacking in that. But however, I would like to say that, just like Dr. Wada have said, there is need for us to synergize to push forward the mandate of Mr. President. The mandate of Mr. President has been excellent since my knowledge of government, or since I was, I've been an adult, I have never witnessed any government who is interested in the common man in the street. All the policies of Mr. President are targeted from bottom up of the pyramid, which means that the interest of the common man is paramount in all his decisions and all his mandate. The little thing we need to do, like he has stated, is for us to synergize, work together, take advantage of the various unique differences of the agency we are represented. We are all his appointee, Mr. President appointee, and he's going to do Nigeria well if we synergize, use these resources to push it for the betterment of Nigeria. But I must reiterate again, Mr. NDE, do not forget to give Nigerian women 45%, and I'm sure you will be satisfied and you will not be disappointed with the outcome of your program. Thank you very much.
Still on you, DG. The last time you were on this program, you reeled out a couple of programs which tailored towards job creation for women in Nigeria. And you told us about an M&E mechanism you put in place to monitor how they are doing. So since then and now, how far, how well?
After I came to this program, we had the COVID pandemic ravaging the country or all over the world. But however, we have a very good ICT department who is handling that. We do it through communication, through the internet, webinar meetings and other, to see that these women are producing. For instance, many women, we follow their progresses. They did very well in this COVID period. Like soap, all the raw materials to produce soap are sourced within Nigeria, and they scale up their production and make so much money. We got many women involved in a hydrochloride solution, I think bleach, and they are doing very well, which is part of one of the components that is required by this COVID to clean, and it earned them a lot of income. We have been monitoring them with using our ICT department to ensure that we reach all of them. Most of them, at the end of our training, we give them either a laptop or a phone or a tablet. So we are all connected and linked. We communicate to ensure that what they are doing is ongoing, and in any area they need our assistance, we are readily available to make that, to meet their demands. I think the supervision aspect of it is still going on. Though there is no physical contact, you cannot travel to see them, but with the help of ICT, we are doing the monitoring perfectly, and they are very satisfied. This COVID has really enriched some of our women, especially those who are involved in the face masks, the sanitizer, soap, body butter, the raw material in the nut. Shea butter is 70% ingredient, which we have here. All we need to do is to package them well and send to the international market. The international community, other countries, they come to Nigeria, pick our shea butter, our kernel oil, coconut oil, and all our materials, then take them abroad, produce and send them back to us. But this COVID has really assisted us. Most of our people use this opportunity, our women, to specialize in this trade. I'm sure after the COVID, we are going to have an exhibition where every woman will come around to display what he or she have done during the COVID. While we are monitoring them, we'll bring out to evaluate to see in the area which we could assist to propel or to scale up their productions. Thank you.
TCND, just before we wrap up, one concern most time is sustainability. What plan is in place to do a rollover if all this succeeds in the line of sustainability?
Well, you see, that's the reason why we have a monitoring unit under in NDE, whereby we monitor most of the programs that we are doing, and we have various ways of monitoring them, like those that we train on cosmetology. These are people that we train on how to make liquid soap, solid soap, Izal, detergent, you know, and hair shampoo and the rest of them. We normally buy from them and we sell to agencies like National Commission for the Refugee and NEMA. And the fact that we take from them, we sell to these agencies, by the time we don't see your product, we'll ask questions. So this is part of our monitoring strategy. Then Mr. Duko Rada made mention about coming together to team up between NDE, SMEDEN, National Center for Women Development, the ITF, the SIP, and the Empower. You know, the whole aim is to fight issue of unemployment.
To function in silos, like you said. Let me use the words.
Yes, to fight issue of unemployment. And if I may advise the DG SMEDEN, the fact that we have about 41.5 million SMEs in Nigeria, if we can encourage them, each one of them to produce or to create just one job, issue of unemployment in Nigeria is solved. That is one. As far as ND is concerned, the promise made by Mr. President to Nigerians, taking 100 million out of poverty in the next 10 years, from our intervention programs, from the graduate attachment program, graduate coaching scheme, vocational skill developments, from our rural employment programs, from our direct cash disbursement of interest-free loan, our target is to peak at least 33 million out of that 100 million. The remaining 67 million will leave it to SMEDEN, to National Women Development Center, to SIPs, to Empower, and the rest of them. And I'm telling you, as far as this issue of 774 jobs that are to be created, we are talking of 774,000 Nigerians. This is the biggest single employment program ever done by any government in the history of this country. So this kind of initiatives from Mr. President, I believe sky is the limit. Taking 10 million people out of poverty in a year, I don't think it should be a problem.
Okay. DG SMEDEN, just a few seconds. In line with what NDDG said, sustainability in all this.
Thank you very much. I think the programs are well structured, because the major thing that creates unsustainability of any program is lack of proper strategy and plan. And most of these programs roll out by the federal government are well strategized, are planned well. And when you have a good planning on any program, for the program to fail, the success of the program will be higher than the failure of the programs. And it is all about us, also as Nigerians. For those people who are benefiting from all these programs, they are the ones that will help for the sustainability of these programs. Why I said this, because if you didn't divert the money given to you to do other things, apart from the thing that was given for, I think that is also one of the reasons that create a lot of, and most of us, there is people who goes into business without knowing the rigors of the business. They just collect the money and the business ended up failing. So I think, and I advise that the major critical factor in the development of any business is capacity building. The money comes second, because if you don't have the skills, it makes it difficult for you to succeed as a businessman or woman. And I also want to say that people should also be able to follow all the procedures and the process to achieve the target. Because a lot of our people are in the habit of, when they start pursuing anything, when they get to a half level, they will stop and say that this is very difficult to get, or maybe they are not going to give us. It's only the people of the rich or the people who have connection that will get it. But most of those claims are untrue, because if people will stand all the difficulties and pursue all those things, and they will be able to get it. But a lot of people are getting it, and we are having the report every day. We have the monitoring team and everything that is giving us reports. So it's about you pursuing it and the sincerity of purpose on the part of the beneficiaries to make sure that what they utilize from the intervention of the government are fully utilized to create more jobs, to create livelihood for Nigerians. Because
at this point, DG Smedan, I must thank you for being part of the program tonight. We appreciate your presence. And also to Mary Ekpere Etta, Director General of National Center for Women Development. Thank you on the program.
I think the sky is the limit for us.
Nasiru Ladan Mohammed Arungu, Director General, National Director of Employment. It was nice having you on Tuesday Live tonight.
Thank you very much.
That's it on the program tonight. We looked at job creation in the face of COVID-19. Thanks for your calls. Thanks for your tweets. On behalf of all of us, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the YouReport link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.